All right, so this is the part of the interview where I ask the crazy questions before I let you go. And if my computer wasn't, from the Stone Age, there they go. They finally loaded up just in the nick of time. So
We all
I,
have that.
yeah, I asked you before we went on about if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or forward in time? And I gave you some time to think about it. Probably didn't have much time because we were talking, but where would you go?
That's a difficult question because there's so much of my, my sci-fi futuristic indulgences says I would love to go forward and see, but then there's a part of me that's terrified that I'm going to go forward and find it's like, the Terminator or some sort of
Yeah.
apocalyptic, wasteland. And then I want to go back because I want to go back and look at all the great shows that I would have seen in the 70s seems like the kind of glory land, and the 80s obviously, of 60s and 70s and 80s would have been a great time to have been around to have watched all those concerts. But that's really the only reason to go back.
Yeah.
I don't really have any other interest. To be just kind of
Yeah.
like, can I just go back in time to see, I don't know, like that concert or this or whatever. I don't know if I mean, I guess had I never known about social media and everything else, maybe it would be easier to kind of go back to that. It'd be such a strange thing now, wouldn't it? Watching like a 90s sitcom and realizing no one has a cell phone. It's all
Yeah.
landlines and all that kinds of, it's such a strange thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. That's too difficult a question. So I'm kind of like, as long as I could return to here, I think I'd probably go back. If it was kind of like a one trip deal. Okay, well, let's pick the perfect concert to go back to. I just don't want to imagine going back and being stuck there, or going forward and being stuck there.
Yeah. 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 You got to get back. And if you go back in time, you could go see like Kiss and Zeppelin for like $8.
Exactly. Yeah, with my modern currency, which would be funny money to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is the worst TV advertisement you've seen recently? Is there one that you keep seeing and you just can't stand?
There's one that we send each other. There's this. I don't even know when it came out, but it was going around online for a while. There was this thing where you could purchase. It was basically just a recording. I don't know if they were selling it on CD or what, but you'd put your headphones on, and it would just be somebody saying like, "You are doing great. You are doing such." Like it's a sort of affirmation type tape, and there'd be like applause noise, and it was all sort of built to like kind of get you all kind of like, "Yeah, it was like I'm like, what kind of lunatic buys this thing for 1995 and just sits there listening to somebody sort of talking them up with crowd noise going like, yeah. And I'm like, that is the silliest thing I've ever heard. I mean, it seems like that's one of a gazillion different dumb things, but I was just kind of like, it was just like, it was so hysterical that and of course the actors in the video are just kind of like, yeah, like just really way too into it. But that's the first one that comes to mind.
And it turns your whole life around for 1995.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Suddenly that guy went on to be the president of the company. Come on.
or the country.
Yeah.
What's
You
the
never know.
most addictive game for you? Do you play video games?
I don't, but I do own the 1978 Kiss pinball machine out in my living room. So
Very cool.
I'll say that one. I do
Now,
love
now,
pinball.
do you still have to put quarters in it, or do you have it rigged to just hit play?
It's rigged to just play. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
That's
very cool.
yeah. I should start charging.
All right, next question. What do you usually do on weekends that doesn't involve music?
Um, God, it's so funny that you say that because it's like, I'm technically in my time off now and I'm talking to you about music. So it's sort of like we talk about music and we play music and we watch music and we listen to music. I like going to movies. I drag my wife out to movies. We like to go to restaurants. We try to, hit different restaurants that we haven't hit or whatever and take in new things. It's I do like to go see music, but I do like to go see live shows, not just music shows. You know what I mean? That's the cool thing about being in Vegas is it's sort of like you could just like it's
Yeah,
randomly Monday, just open your phone and there's a million things happening in
yeah,
town. Let's go see that.
yeah,
So yeah, mostly it's just that kind of stuff. I just, find something to do and go check it
yeah.
out.
Except for Carrot Top, he's blacked out on Mondays.
That's true. And I've seen Carrot Top many times. He's always fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So if you were given the chance to make one wish come true, and I want it to be a selfish wish, not like world
Wow.
peace or any of that,
Okay.
what would your wish be if you could have one wish and it would automatically come
Oh,
true?
Jeez. Might be something stupid like, seeing Kiss in 1978 or something.
For $8.
Yeah, for $8. Full makeup, original lineup. I mean, probably 77. That'd probably be the peak version of the band to see. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
I'm not really kind of material as far as like a car or anything like that I could imagine. I want that. Of course, as soon as I hang up with you, I'll be like, I should have said this.
Yeah. Can I get that wish back?
Yeah, I need that wish back. Yeah.
And what's funny is the next question that came up is, what period of time would you travel to if you're given a time machine? Which we've already checked that one off. So that's kind of funny that it popped up randomly.
It's funny because we've talked about this stuff all the time. Like, what was the best time to make and hear music? Making music, I think the 70s was glorious because it was sort of the Wild West still. Like, the music business was sort of blooming and money was flying and everybody was, doing well. I mean, obviously there's as many tragic stories as there are great stories,
Right.
but and then into the 80s, you get that kind of like everything's going great. But when you look at it now from this perspective, you realize that the clock is ticking. Like,
Yeah.
For every band that went on to do really well, there was, bands that were going to do really great. They were going to be back to the arena, and the next year they were in a club. I mean, it's like, so I always think of the 70s when it comes to that kind of stuff. Even bands like the Stones and the Who were, to me, some of their coolest eras were in the 70s.
Yeah.
For 60s bands,
Yeah, for sure. All right. Last question. It's a two-part question. What's the food that you always refuse to share, and what food would you never eat?
Oh man.
This
Refuse to share.
Deep rock and roll talk right here.
You know what I refuse to share? Mostly popcorn. I'm actually like, when I go to a movie theater, I know it's weird to think about, but it's, if you had to kind of like, if I was going to the electric chair, I'd be like, well, make me some popcorn. That's kind of, yeah. It's actually the meal I like the most, even though it's not a meal. But I generally, when I go to the movie theater, it's kind of like, this is my popcorn. You get whatever you want.
Exactly. Virtual fist bump. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that too.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, I just want a handful. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Get a handful from your own box. Yeah. And what I would never eat, geez, I don't know, something weird like monkey brains on Indiana Jones or something.
All right. Well, we won't serve you monkey brains if you come to Indianapolis.
Yeah. I don't think that's on the menu.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Todd, thanks for talking with us, and the listeners are back to the arena. And thanks for answering all those questions and being a good sport about that. The Heroes and Monsters self-titled album is out now. You can follow the band on Facebook and Instagram at Heroes and Monsters Band. Again, thanks for taking some time and talking with us and the listeners.
100% my pleasure. You guys have a happy 2023.
Yeah, you too. And hopefully we'll see you touring the States here.
Absolutely. Take care.